Is for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our Monday, August 7th school board meeting, and we'll start with our agenda approval, deletions, additions. Dr. Veraco.
Thank you, Mrs. Suze. You have a revised agenda before you. There were some slight revisions to the regular, I'm getting off. Yeah, to the regular board meeting minutes from July 17th. Also, a couple of typographical spacing errors in my section 7A, and there are additional items in the personnel recommendation packet that you received last week. Those additional items should be at your workstation from Mrs. Castaneda.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Is there any correspondence this evening, Mrs. Kelly?
There is not.
All right, we'll move right into our liaison committee updates. Mr. Marshall?
Thank you. As far as Personnel Interview Committee, no report this evening.
Thank you. Mrs. Kelly?
I have nothing to report this evening.
Dr. Medlin?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Dr. Malco?
Lake Central Education Foundation is moving forward. Our 5K walk is on September 9th, 9 o'clock here at the back of the high school. That is done in honor originally of Tina Lesk, the former Lake Street student that was basically, for lack of a better word, murdered when she was exiting her hospital in Chicago. So a lot of us knew Tina. She was our student, and to lose her was a big tragedy. But what we want to do, in addition to honoring Tina, is expand that into whatever type of hero that you might have. For example, we've invited Jim Tarka to this meeting. Now, if you know Jim Tarka, he's a gentleman who established the Hamlin-Calumet Striders and the Gold Cup Series. So if you're a runner, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not a runner, but Jim was
I
very,
missed it right now. Yeah, thank you.
a big participant in getting that established. And I think he established it back in the 70s, and it's still going on. It's just a major achievement that he's done. So he's a hero we're sponsoring. He's also a St. John veteran. So there you go. Veterans would be somebody else that you could invite to be your hero. It could be your favorite teacher. And so we encourage you to come. It's just a good time. In addition to that, on that following Saturday, which is September 16th, now there's going to be the Gold Family. It's a memorial. It's going to be installed at the Dyers Central Park. Now, the Gold Family Memorial, it's very rare that a state gets two of those. We have one in Lake County, in Dyer, no less. There's another one somewhere else, but that's very, very rare. And the mother behind it is Patty Nowalczyk. If you remember, she lost her son, David Nowalczyk, and he was a Lake Central grad too. So it has a lot of personal connection. So Mr. Moore and Mr. Graber, will you pass that message around to your administrators for us? Okay, thank you. I can't give you the time now, but I will at the next meeting. But it would be great to have a huge supportive crowd there for that event. Again, that's September 16th. And that also kind of covers Dyer Parks, so I think I'm done there. Thank you.
And for the St. John Redevelopment Commission, as well as Dollars for Scholars, we're gearing up for homecoming. And the Parks Department, we've had our second farmers market last Sunday, and I know it rained, but they said the first one was very well attended, and haven't talked to anybody about last Sunday, but thank you, Lake Central. So we'll move on to our official school board business topics consent agenda. Dr. Veraco.
Thank you again, Mrs. Sue. Seek board approval for the minutes from our special meeting on Monday, the 17th of July, as well as our regular board meeting minutes. Also seek board approval for the claims, payroll, and extracurricular expenditures you received in your packets last week.
Thank you. We have a motion by Dr. Malco,
Second?
second by Mr. Marshall. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And now on to our official school board business topics, regular agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, there is no public comments for action items. So on to our official school board business topics, regular agenda, Dr. Veraco.
Thank you. I have two professional leave requests to seek board approval for. The first is a collective bargaining one-day seminar sponsored by the School Board Association on August 18th in Indianapolis. Additionally, seek approval for myself, Mrs. Castaneda, Mrs. Suze, Dr. Medlin, and Mrs. Kelly to attend the ISBA IAPSS annual meeting that begins on a Sunday evening, the 24th of September, and goes through midday Tuesday, the 26th.
Motion by Dr. Malco, and I will second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we have to sort of pause our regular meeting to conduct a hearing for the opening of collective bargaining. So before we do formal negotiations with our teachers union, we have to hear if anybody from the community wants to comment on anything in particular regarding the wages and fringe-related benefits that we will discuss with our teachers union beginning on September 15th. Just so you know, we've been doing this for about 5 years. We've never had anybody comment, but it is the law, so we do take a pause to ask for that. Hearing none, we'll move on. Just in case anyone's watching at home and they want to know if they get to comment when we actually finish the negotiations, the answer is yes. So at some point, our board will hear the terms for our certified staff, mainly teachers, for next year's salary and fringe benefits. And at that point, the public has another opportunity to comment. My last item is to let the board know that I intend to get involved with a coalition across the state of Indiana that is being spearheaded by Seamus Boyce, a fellow who is an expert in special education law, who is spearheading an effort to bring back the positive to the education profession. And so this group is going to try to come up with some ways to get the rhetoric that sometimes comes out of the Indiana General Assembly to be more positive. The teacher shortage is real. There are some districts who are gearing up for the school year with dozens of open positions. Thank goodness we're not in that boat. But it is a problem, and it's not just all wage and insurance costs and things like that. There's other things that are driving people out of the profession, and there are some things keeping folks from joining us. And so we're just trying to figure out some ways to bring some more positive stories and imagery back to what we do, and that's to help students every day to achieve their best. Won't know the cost to participate just yet, but I'll have a better idea as we get into having our first meeting here in early September, and I'll update the board once I have a little better idea of what our actions are going to be. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to our Assistant Superintendent, Mrs. Castaneda.
Thank you. For my first item, I am seeking your approval for the personnel recommendations, the revised copy that you received this evening.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Marshall. Second by Dr. Malco. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. For my second item, I just want to give the board a staffing update. At a previous board meeting, Mr. James shared that we've seen a bit of declining enrollment simply because we're graduating cohorts of over 700, almost 800 students, and we've had incoming kindergarten cohorts close to 600. So one thing that we focused on this summer was to adjust for that, and so we were able to absorb some positions. At the elementary level, we absorbed 3 positions, and at the high school level, we were able to absorb 5. In terms of staffing, which I know was your concern, I'm sure you've seen a lot of headlines about the teacher shortage, not only in Indiana, but in other parts of the country. Lake Central is no exception. We're very lucky that we still have high-quality applicants who have been applying, but the quantity of people applying has definitely decreased since I first started here about 10 years ago, and that's what we're seeing nationwide. So we're very thankful that we have quality applicants, but concerned about the quantity. Some of our neighboring districts are struggling even more than that. We had a principals meeting today where one of our principals said, for an open elementary position, we had 29 applicants, which is wonderful. And that was for an elementary teaching spot. But an administrator that they know in a neighboring district only had 4 applicants. So the teacher shortage is very real, and it's definitely impacting Northwest Indiana. Again, at Lake Central, we've been fortunate that we've been able to maintain. But I think this ties back to what Dr. Veraco was saying, that we need to improve that climate for our teachers in general if we're going to encourage people to continue to go into the profession. Any questions?
Sarah, when you said 3 elementary positions, 5 high school positions, were they all teachers or were they administrators or combos?
They were all teachers.
All
And
teachers.
so we were able to absorb that at the elementary level, and then at the high school, we absorbed 1 math, 1 language arts, 1 science, 1 art, and 1 foreign language.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, and then for my last item, I am seeking your approval for the professional leave request.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
We have a motion by Mrs. Kelly,
Second.
second by Dr. Medlin. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now on to our Director of Primary Education, Dr. Bracy.
Good evening. I have no professional leave or field trip requests tonight, but I wanted to share our current high ability numbers with you. On Tuesday, July 25th, we met with parents whose children are new to the high ability program. We had a total of 51 parents attend the meeting. During the meeting, we discussed the high ability identification plan, our services, the curriculum, and how we meet the needs of students. We received a lot of positive feedback from parents. I'd also like to thank Michelle Snow from Bibbage for coming in during the summer to administer our high ability test. From those summer assessments, we were able to add an additional 10 children who qualified for services. So currently at the elementary level, that brings us to approximately 314 students in grades 1 through 4 who participate in the high ability program. Any questions?
I do, because I knew you were going to talk about this, and I started thinking about it. And this comes back from years ago, well, not that many years, but several years ago when Mrs. Lesentine was on here, and she had a really cool question. And I thought it might be something to ask of you. With a high ability, has there been any study or analysis of those students as they get older and the effectiveness of that high ability? Do you remember that, Sarah?
So I believe the question she asked was how many students who were identified at the elementary level then stuck with the advanced classes, meaning AP and honors at the high school level. Is that what you're referring to?
Right, and how successful they were. So, and I know you're very, very busy right now with the beginning of school, but it's just an analysis would be kind of interesting when you
Okay.
have time.
I'll find out and get back to you.
I know you will. Thank
Okay.
you.
Did you want the numbers just when they go to high school or when they go on to college as well?
Well, heck, whatever you can do.
Okay.
The more information we have, the better we are.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
No worries.
Thank you. And on to our Director of Secondary Education, Mrs. Schuneman.
Thank you. For my first item, I am seeking your approval for the professional leave request that you received in your board packet.
Move to approve the professional leave requests.
We have a motion
Second.
by Dr. Medlin and a second by Mr. Marshall. Any discussion or questions?
Well, yes, I have a question. Now, this Don Combus and the Regional Innovation and Startup Education says RISE.
Yes.
Is that the same as the RISE evaluation form?
It is not. So it is
Oh.
actually part of the entrepreneurship program at the high school, which is a pathway. And so what it does is it RISE, the organization, it focuses on individuals and understanding different strengths and abilities to bring to that people bring to the table in terms of their leadership in entrepreneurship. And so she teaches the entrepreneur classes.
Okay.
And so she's getting that those certifications and trainings, and then there's the personality administration training. And so there are specific qualifications that the teacher has to have in order to pass that on to the students.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And for my second item, I'm seeking your approval for the field trip request that you received in your board packet.
Make a motion to approve that?
Motion by Mrs. Kelly. I will, Dr. Malkow seconded it. Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And our Director of Student Services, Mrs. Grimella.
Thank you. My only item tonight is to seek your approval for the professional leave request that was included in your packet.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Marshall,
Second?
second by Dr. Malko. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our Director of Facilities, Mr. Ledyard.
Thank you, Mrs. Seuss. Good evening, Board. I just wanted to update you on the capital projects as well as some of the other summer cleaning and projects here before school. As far as the Bibbage project goes, if you've driven by, it's been a very busy site the last month. We are pretty much on schedule. We've had good weather here except for the last couple of weeks. All the foundations are done. All the slabs are done except for the cafeteria slab, which will be pouring on this Thursday. All the underground electric and plumbing are done in all areas. The site utilities are 90% done. We should finish those up this week as well. And we took our first delivery of steel today. We had 4 trucks of steel today. We've got another one tomorrow. So we'll start erecting steel. You'll see steel going up the air tomorrow. And then we have our second phase of steels coming next Monday, the 14th. And then the final phase of steels coming Monday, the 21st. So going very well over there. We'll get some, we're going to clean up the front parking lot there for the students and staff by week's end and get it all striped for the upcoming school to start next week. So everything there is going pretty well. As far as Grimmer HVAC, it's been crazy because we didn't get all of our units until the end of May. But things are going as good as they can there. All the ductwork's done, all the piping's done. We will have all the ceilings back by tomorrow end of the day. And we have all the temperature control wiring done except for in the industrial arts and band area. That will be done by Friday. So we'll just have to do stuff at the back of the house in the boiler rooms and the mezzanines. We are planning, we're running some tests on the pipe and running some cleaning solution in there today and tomorrow. We're going to drain it and fire it back up on Wednesday, and we're going to start all the systems on Thursday. So that's the goal, to have everything started up on Thursday. And then we've still got that unit I told you guys about for the boiler room and some of the kitchen area that's not coming to October. We'll still be doing some insulation in the month of August, but that's all going to be done in the mezzanine. And the boiler rooms, it will be back of house and won't interfere with any of the learning, as well as temperature control, doing some tie-ins and stuff. So the guys did a wonderful job. It's been a lot of work over there, but I think everything's going to come together. The varsity baseball lights, Dr. Malkow mentioned to me today before the board meeting. She saw a lot of work out there at high school, and if you've been around, we have gotten all the boring done. We had to bore for all the 13 poles from the back to high school there on the northwest corner with the mechanical room. So we bored around the baseball field, we bored around the softball field. So all the conduits in place, which we wanted in place before school started, so that has been completed. The bases are supposed to come sometime this week. We'll get those started, and then we'll start pulling wire. We want to get at least the bases done by the baseball field before our first home football game, the 25th, so we can pour that stuff underneath the bleachers. If you notice there, we've got some concrete torn up by the baseball press box as well as a little bit on the bleachers. The goal there is to have that done by the 25th. And then we should be done with most of the stuff by after Labor Day with the bases and the wire. And then we'll wait till the poles are coming, which are coming sometime in October. And again, as a reminder, once you see the poles up, I won't be able to turn them on until probably sometime into January because the electrical components for my 2 panels will not come till after the holidays. As far as the freshman center, we have gotten a head start on some demo we could do early on this summer. As I said, most of the work's going to be going on next summer, but we did get some demo done. We've got some gas pipe done, and our roof curbs came in, so we did get those set, which is huge because now if our units come, we're hoping by spring break, we'll set the units over spring break in '24. And I want to inform the board, I know Dr. Veracco knows, the town of St. John gave us a 75% reduction on our permit fees for the freshman center. So we were thrilled with that. I want to thank the town manager and the town council for that partnering up and helping us with that. So that did save us over $21,000. So I want to let the board know that.
Yes, thank you to Town Council of St. John for discounting those fees, because that money will go back to our students.
Yes, it
Thank
goes
you.
back to the project, so that was very kind. Before I move on to item 2, any questions on the capital projects? Moving on, summer projects were lean because of budget stuff this year, but all of them are done. As far as the cleaning goes, all the buildings are 100% ready, with the exception of Grimmer because of all the projects, but I'd say by Wednesday, he's going to be totally done. I've got two halls to wax, which he's waxed one today. He'll finish up the other one tomorrow and Wednesday, so it'll be all ready for the open house on Thursday. And Pfeiffer's a little bit behind too because of Adventure Club and summer school, but we should be done there by end of the week as well.
Mr. Ledger? You know, having been through a building renovation when I was at Lake Street School in Crown Point, I know it can be really, really difficult for some parents to accept the fact that there's renovation going on. So you have to establish special entryways and all those adjustments you need to make. Are you comfortable with what core construction will put together for us, for our students?
The way the project sets up now, we had a trial. We changed the logistics of the pickup and drop off for some bus riders in the last school year. And really, the building project, remember, there's 2 projects. There's the HVAC renovation, the building project. The building project is totally demarked. It's all gonna be outside the building. And other than those buses that we changed that used to drop off, they had some of the special needs buses, I think there's 4 of them there last year at least, dropped off in the back there on the north side where the playground is, and they're just dropping off in the front now. That's the only change. So everything else, and I've got fences going up. In fact, the whole west side's fenced and gated, and my east side fence is going up Thursday afternoon once I'm done with the pour at the cafeteria. So it's all gonna be separated.
And so they will still continue with construction while school is going on, but it will be outside the main building then?
Yeah, we won't. We may go inside for the HVAC portion. If you do go to Bibbage, anybody, the hallway the ceilings are gone. I've got temporary lights there so that I can take advantage of maybe after school, or at least on the holidays, the winter break, fall break, spring break, I can run my infrastructure and the ceiling will be gone to get from point A to point B. But other than that, there won't be anything going on until next summer.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you. Our Director of Business Services, Mr. James.
Thank you. My only item this evening is to seek your approval for the donations that were presented in your board packet.
Move to,
We have a motion by Dr. Malco and a
Second.
second by Dr. Medlin. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a few public comments, the people that have signed up. So we'll start with Miss Irene Boone Phillips. If you could just tell us where you're from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Irene Boone Phillips. I am with Franciscan Health. I am the program coordinator for the Lake County Community Tobacco Prevention and Cessation Coalition. Mrs. Susan and the board, I would like to thank you for allowing me to speak tonight, but I also would like to thank you for your continued support. Tonight, I am here to deliver the 2023 Champion Educator Award to Dr. Larry Verrocco. Back in 2015, Dr. Verrocco joined a group of advocates to develop a strategic plan for Lake County and Franciscan Health to address tobacco use and nicotine addiction. Since then, we have made a lot of progress, thanks to your help. But there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, through the years, Dr. Verrocco has never wavered on advocating for the protection, well-being, and educational advancement of all students. And that impact stretches beyond Lake County, and it reaches across Indiana. He has opened many doors for the coalitions under the leadership of the Indiana Department of Health as we strive for a tobacco and vape-free generation. So on behalf of the Indiana Tobacco Control Programs, Franciscan Health, Foundation and our local coalitions. We present this token of appreciation to you, Dr. Verrocco. And if I can read it, it says, the Lake County Tobacco Coalition's 2023 Champion Educator, Dr. Larry Verrocco.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your dedication.
Should have worn a nicer place tonight.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Can you guys pose for a picture real quick,
Yeah.
the two of you?
I don't want to do
I do. Yeah, just two of them together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have a Mr. John Durr.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here on behalf of my daughter, Eleanor Durr. She is going to speak tonight as well, so I figured I'd get out of my comfort zone a little bit. But she attended Coling Elementary 2nd through 4th grades. Just before the end of the 22-23 school year, we were informed that she would not be able to attend Clark Middle School because its numbers were nearly at capacity, and we do not live in the school's boundaries. Her mother met with Superintendent Verrocco and Assistant Superintendent Castaneda, and appreciate the time you spent with her on meeting, and respecting or expressing her concerns and our concerns. Unfortunately, the results were not what we were hoping for. Her mother and I were not asking for an exception to attend Clark Middle School. We felt that the exception was already granted in 2020 when she was allowed to attend Coling. Over the last 3 years, she has established her first real friendships with her peers from Coling, and now she's essentially being asked to start over at no fault of her own. And as a 10-year-old, that has to seem like an overwhelming task, and I've seen how this has affected her throughout the summer. She's a highly intelligent and courageous 10-year-old and will be an asset to whatever middle school she attends. I'm humbled by her bravery and tenacity in regards to the situation, so hopefully you can reconsider by adding another desk or two at Clark Middle School. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have an Eleanor Durr.
Hello, my name is Eleanor Durr. I am 10 years old and have come to this board meeting because my best friend Lainey Collins and I were told that we could not attend Clark Middle School. Although we had attended an orientation, received a Clark Middle School t-shirt, and also had intended on going to Clark Middle School ever since we started our education at Coling Elementary, we were still told that we could not attend Clark Middle School. Our mothers wrote a letter to Dr. Verrocco, had a meeting with him, and also had created a slide presentation while he still said no. I thought you all would understand and agree that Clark Middle School is the best choice for us two girls. Our mothers, Erin Durr and Julie Collins, are both teachers in the district. They are advocates for their students as well as their own children. We both have siblings that attend Coling Elementary as well. Lainey and I really would like to go to Clark Middle School and hope that you all will help us in our situation and be the heroes that help two girls go to the middle school of their dreams. I would also like you to know that I start to cry whenever I think about this and will sometimes feel really sick to my stomach and want to cry a lot. Also, my mother had cried once or twice and felt so miserable. One more thing I would like you to know that is that you all are my last hope. So thank you for listening to me. I really hope that you can make the right decision for two sweet, clever, loving, and thoughtful girls. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all we have for public comments. So with that, we'll move on to our board comments and consideration of future agenda items. Mr. Marshall.
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Kelly?
Going back to Mr. Ledger's presentation, I just wanted to give a little shout out to Cherville. I know that we talked about Dyer and St. John and the generous reductions they did in our permit fees, and I looked into it too. I wanted to make sure Cherville was as well, and they also gave 100% discount.
Wow.
Yes, they did, and I brought that to the board, because that permit we got a year ago, that permit
Gotcha.
we got clear back in, we actually received that permit back, like, I think it was last April of, because remember, our units took so long.
Yes,
Yes,
to
they
come in.
gave 100%, that is correct.
Wow.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure Sherrville got kudos as well. Thank you to
Thank you,
all three
Sherrville.
towns.
In fact, Bob Bowles
Right.
is still there.
Yes.
Yes, very much so, yes.
Thank you for pointing that out, Bill.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Dr. Medlin.
I know the beginning of the school year is always a really happy time for me, and I just wanted to wish the best to the teachers and students and administration staff coming into the new school year. That's all.
Thank you. Dr. Malco.
I get really excited when I see all the activity going on around the high school. I see marching bands and I see installation of lights for the football fields, or baseball fields, I should say, and robotics class, and it's just so cool that there are so many activities for our kids in the summer. And I think we're all ready to rock and roll, and it's gonna be a great year. I see a lot of positive comments and heard a lot of good comments, so I wish everyone a great, successful school year. I know, if only we could expand the walls of that Clark building, wouldn't that be great? I know, I get it, but we're doing well, thank you.
Thank you, and I have no comments for this evening. So with that, we'll move on to board calendar, future activities. Dr. Baraco.
Thank you. So we are welcoming our teachers back a week from today and our students back a week from tomorrow, and we'll be back here in 2 weeks for our next public board meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second?
We are adjourned.